In this video, I will show you how to create a Gantt chart. Gantt chart is basically a bar chart of activity times as shown here. It gives you a good illustration of the activities on the timeline. To create a Gantt chart, you need to know the starting times and the duration of each activity. Then we will create a stacked bar chart with these two data series. So here are the data series, the start times here, and the durations here. Now these, if you already created a project network, you already have this information. So start times are the ESs, the earliest starts, and of course we already have the duration. By copying numbers from the project network, what I mean is this project network here. As you know, the duration is here in the box, and ES is over here. Right? So A has duration of 5, ES of 0. C has a duration of 4, ES of 5, and so forth. So you need those two values for each activity. Now, if you didn't already do this, you could just do it from scratch by referring to the data given here. So let me illustrate that. So here I will say, okay, well, A and B are initial starting activities. So the start times are 0 and 0. And the duration is, well, I could just copy these numbers here. To get the starting times, we need to have the finish times of the predecessors. So we'll have to keep track of the finish times of the activities as well in this column. And remember, the finish time is just the sum of the start time and the duration. Now, to get the remaining start times, I just have to look at this precedence relationships here. So for C, A is a predecessor, so ES for C is the EF of A. So we just point to that value 5. And A is a predecessor to actually all C, D, and E. So I could just do the same thing for D and E. Then for F, F has E as a predecessor, so point to 6. Then G has D and F as predecessors. Remember that you take the maximum value between the two EFs. So I could use the max function and select D and F. So EF of D and EF of F. Then for H, it's B and C. So maximum of the EFs of B and C. Then for I, it's G and H. Well, let's put a border back over here. Okay, so here's a list. So now we want to insert a stacked bar chart of these two data series labeled by these activities. So we could follow these instructions. You select the 3 columns like this, and now we go to Insert, then Stacked Bar Chart, which is over here, and let's use a 2D bar chart. So not this one, not the cluster bar, but the stacked, and not the 100% stacked bar, but the one in the middle, the second one, the stacked bar. So you can see that here, these blue bars that are on my screen are the start times. I want to make them transparent. So I click on these bars and then right click, and there's a fill here, and I could select no fill like this. Or if you don't have that shortcut available, you could do it the long way. So click on the start bars, then right click, format data series. Then now you get a menu. Click on a paint bucket, which is for fill and line. Go over to fill and select no fill. Okay, so you can see it's starting to look more like a Gantt chart. Now notice the activities are in a reverse order here. So I is at the top and A is at the bottom, so we want to reverse that order. So to do that, follow the instructions here. Go to the Format tab here. Then you say what you want to format. So what you want to format is the vertical axis. So that's over here, vertical category axis. Now, once I've selected that, I could say I want to format that selection. So click on Format Selection, and I could see here categories in reverse order. So this is what I want. So I check that box, and there we go. Now these bars are a little wimpy looking, and I want to have a fatter, thicker bars for my Gantt chart. So I could do that by reducing the gap between the bars. So you guys know how to do that, right? So Format Data Series, and go over to gap width and make it maybe about 25% or so. There we go. Now, of course, you should always have the proper chart title and the axis titles. So let's make sure we have those things. So chart title, maybe I make it Gantt chart, Western Hills or something like that. Then I want to add the axis titles. Now the horizontal axis, that should be weeks or week. And the vertical axis would be the activity. Now an optional thing, perhaps if you want to know the exact length of these bars right on the chart, you could always add the data labels. So I could click on the chart and right click, then I could see there's add data labels here. So there we go. Now you also have an option of changing the color of the fill. So maybe here I want the color of the bars a little lighter so I could see the labels better. Click on the bars, and right click. So there's a fill option right here, but if you don't have that, you could go over to Format Data Series as usual, go over to the paint bucket and pick a different fill color. Maybe something lighter like this, or maybe something like this. Okay, there we go. So from looking at this chart, it's clear that A and B we start right away, and the last activity is I. And it looks like from this, we should be able to finish the entire thing in 26 weeks.